So living in a mobile home community or a trailer park definitely has its unique set of drawbacks, which in my opinion, potential residents should carefully consider. We've been talking about, the cost of basically just living here in the United States, whether it is your mortgage, your rent, whether it's owning a home, renting a home, not even to mention, food costs and gas costs and insurance costs and all these other things. So there's a lot of stuff that would make people look towards maybe mobile home parks or something like that as an option, because a lot of times it's a lot cheaper than even an apartment complex, right? But there's a lot of stuff you really have to think about and take into consideration. So we're going to talk about a couple of those things today in case you haven't thought about it or don't know the issues that could come with it or the positives that could come with it, but you need to know. All right. So number one, let's talk about depreciation and value, because mobile homes often depreciate in value over time, unlike traditional houses, which can appreciate. This can make it difficult to build equity. Most mobile homes, and when I say most, I'm going 99.99% of mobile homes themselves, will never appreciate. They will only depreciate. You will not be able to build equity. You're not going to sell your mobile home for more than you bought it for. It's just not how it's going to work, right? So then you also have stigma and perception. Unfortunately, there can be a societal stigma associated with living in a mobile home or a trailer park, which might affect residents' social experiences and self-esteem. A lot of people hear the word trailer park and they're like, oh, white trash. There's all kinds of people who live in trailer parks. You could be any color trash, just so we're all fully aware. But a lot of people think trailer park and they think low class, low income, low education, low whatever. And that is definitely not the case. Now, sure, there are places like that where it's kind of more like a cesspool of, don't want to be in that pool at all. But there's also places where it's your older retirement communities who are like, hey, listen, I don't have the kind of money to, live in one of these 55 and up communities of these four-side brick homes with, the walking paths and the whatever else. With the way Social Security is going and the way my 401k got crapped on in 2008 or again in 2020, 2021, a lot of people are looking for cheaper options, and mobile home parks or trailer parks are definitely better viable options for people on a lower income, right? Now, quality and durability is another thing you have to think about. Older mobile homes, especially those built before modern manufacturing standards, may have lower quality construction and materials, leading to issues with durability and maintenance, which you don't really think about when it comes to houses. Now, for me, I've lived in older homes and newer homes, and those older homes seem to really stand the test of time. These newer homes are the ones that seem to be falling apart much faster. My personal opinion. My Nana's house that was built in the 1930s, brick, everything was in much better condition than houses that are built in 2015, 2020, because I feel like a lot of builders today cut corners. However, mobile homes aren't in the same category as your older homes in general. Mobile homes, they were pretty much slapstick put together, and they're not going to withstand the test of time like most homes will. What movie is withstand the test of time in? That line, that quote is stuck in my head, and they kept saying it wrong in the movie, and then they finally got it right, and I cannot think what the movie is, and that's going to drive me crazy. Sorry to squirrel off on that, but that's going to drive me bonkers. Please, if you know, please tell me in the comments. Our love will stand the test of time. What is that from? It's obviously a rom-com. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's keep going here. We've got community restrictions. Many mobile home parks have strict rules and regulations regarding home appearance, yard maintenance, noise, and other aspects of daily life, which can feel restrictive. Same thing as a regular housing development with an HOA. It's not going to be any different. In some trailer parks, mobile home locations. I don't want to say the word park. There's no rides in there. Why do they use the word park? Some of those will have HOA style things. Some of them won't. It just kind of depends. I think the ones that don't are the ones that people automatically associate with the trash side of things. Just because there's no HOA doesn't mean that the people don't care about their belongings, their surroundings and stuff like that. So I'd like that stigma to go away as well. Now, another one is limited space. For some people, that's a huge perk. For others, that's a massive downfall. So mobile homes often offer less living space compared to traditional homes. This can be a significant drawback for families or those who need more room for their belongings. You know how many people were on that tiny home kick for the last few years? Every time you turned on HGTV or Discovery Channel or whatever, it was a tiny home show, this tiny home show, that, how to build a tiny home, how to find a tiny home, how to move your tiny home, how to make it so 18 people could live in 257 square feet. not feasible unless you're a clown car and you're, you know, it's like your job to do that. But tiny homes are almost like mobile homes. Like, you have to sit there and think about it. A tiny home has less square footage than most mobile homes, yet people want those because they look at them as like a status thing, because tiny homes are friggin' expensive, more expensive than a lot of mobile homes. So a lot of people like the fact that they're smaller, less space. Not everybody. My husband, myself, and my daughter and I, we moved out of we were roughly 6,000 square feet in our last home, and now we're at 1,400 square feet in our apartment. And it turns out that's more than enough for us. So we already know that in the future, a mobile home or a trailer could easily work for us, because what we have now, we could easily put into something that size. We could even downsize down to 1,000 square feet and be perfectly fine as well. It's also helped us, having less space has helped us get rid of stuff we don't need. So many people have way more materials than they could ever possibly use or need in life, because we let our wants overtake our needs and, you know, whatever. So all those knickknacks that you don't really need, all those souvenirs that, I mean, if you have the memories, why do you need the other stuff, right? That just sits in your closet or in your dresser drawer or under your bed. So we've learned to downsize the things because we've downsized our space. A lot of people go to mobile homes and stuff like that for the push to downsize, for the necessity to make them stop hoarding stuff or stop buying so much stuff, or, you know what I mean? So the space is going to be relevant to how you feel about what you need and want in life, right? Now let's look at this. Resale challenges. Selling a mobile home can be challenging due to the depreciation factor and the niche market. It may take longer to find a buyer, and the sale price might be lower than expected. It's not often you jump on Zillow and you see a mobile home listed for sale. It doesn't really happen that often. I'm not saying it never happens, but it is one of those things where it's harder to get your money back or to, you know, break even on the sale of a mobile home, because there's other things that people are thinking about when it comes to purchasing where they're going to live, right? Now, natural disasters. This is a huge one in my opinion. Mobile homes are generally more vulnerable to natural disasters like hurricanes, tornadoes, and severe storms. This can result in higher insurance costs and potential safety concerns. With the way our weather has been the last couple of years, I don't know that I would want to be in a structure that was not considered the safest in the storms we've been having, whether it's these ridiculously high winds, the amount of tornadoes that have hit the US lately, or even, you know, the uptick of hurricanes. You don't have the same foundation in a mobile home that you do in a regular traditional house. You're not going to have that same kind of foundation, and that could really wreak havoc on your living situation if a storm were to come through. And the fact that you don't have that stability is going to make your insurance higher. So are you willing to pay more for the what ifs of the weather, right? Now, amenities and infrastructure. While some mobile home communities offer amenities like swimming pools and clubhouses, others may lack basic infrastructure or community features found in traditional neighborhoods, which is very true. Most trailer parks or mobile home parks I've ever seen don't really have anything, and if they do, there might be a pool. But it kind of makes me think of KOAs, the Campgrounds of America, how they have these difference between a holiday and a, what's it called? Holiday and there's another name for their differences in their trailer parks, because technically that's what they are. Of course, you bring your own trailer, whether it's a Class B, a Class A, Class C, or whatever else. But then they have amenities at some of these places that have a small clubhouse, a place to wash your clothes, a pool. But you pay extra to park there for the night, right? Especially if you have the hookups for your water, your electricity. Then you have the other ones that are your most basic campgrounds possible. You have some water and electricity hookup, and that's it, you know, and some toilets and showers, possibly, maybe. But you're not going to have a place to wash your clothes or to swim. And those are going to be much, much cheaper. Mobile home parks, trailer parks, same kind of thing. You're going to have your higher end ones. They're going to cost you more if you want the amenities, just like if you're in a neighborhood. Neighborhoods with really nice amenities cost more, bigger HOA. Same thing with apartment complexes. You want really nice amenities, you're paying more for that apartment than you are down the street at one who has kind of subpar amenities, right? Now think about the economic and demographic factors. So mobile home communities can attract a diverse range of residents, but they often house lower income families and individuals. This can sometimes lead to higher crime rates or less investment in the surrounding area, depending on the specific community, which we all know. there's regular neighborhoods that are going to be the same way. You're going to have regular neighborhoods where the houses are cheaper to rent or cheaper to sell, cheaper to buy, and you're going to have the same kind of thing. It does not mean that somebody low income is just automatically going to be a thief. It doesn't mean that if you're in a low income neighborhood that people are all awful and, you know, out to harm each other. So I'd like people to get rid of that stigma, but there is some truth to the fact that most people who choose to be in a mobile park or a mobile home park or a trailer park are doing so out of necessity of cost. And a lot of times that comes with that stigma of why they have less money or who they might be as a person if they don't have more money, which is something that media helps push and portray and, you know, divide and conquer kind of thing, which I wish we didn't have that stigma about people. Now, investment risk. Since you are typically renting the land, investing in a mobile home does not provide the same financial security or return on investment as purchasing a traditional home with land ownership. Now, let's be 100% honest here. You never own your land. Doesn't matter if you own your home, you never own your land. The government can come in at any point in time and take that shit right out from underneath you, especially your mineral rights. Unless you have that in a deed, you don't own anything underneath the soil either. So let's keep that part in mind. But with a mobile home or a trailer, you are renting that space. And what we're seeing right now for a lot of people is that space that they were maybe paying $200 for that little small piece of land that their mobile home is on, $200 a month. Now they're up to $600 a month. Then they're up to $1,200 a month. And at some point they're paying more for that little piece of land that their mobile home is on than they would if they were out renting a home or trying to get a mortgage for a home with its own land where everything is put together. My question has always been, what if you own your mobile home, but you rent that land and you can't pay that rent on that land? What happens to your mobile home? What happens to your house at that point? Because that is your home. That is your house, right? What happens to that if they want to kick you off the land because you can't pay the rent for the land itself? Do they just help you move your house? No, you have to come up with money to move that. So trailer parks and mobile home parks, for me, personally, are kind of a last resort for that specific reason alone. Not even to mention anything else, but that specific reason alone makes those scary for me, in my opinion, because you have less chance of being able to keep your home if you can't pay the rent on the land, okay? So now carefully weighing these drawbacks against the potential benefits, such as lower initial costs and sense of community, is crucial for anyone considering moving into a mobile home community or a trailer park. Now let's also think about land ownership real quick. In most mobile home communities, residents own their homes but rent the land, which is what we talked about. This arrangement can lead to vulnerability if the park owner decides to sell the land, change its use, or significantly increase rent, which we just talked about. But the selling of the land is huge to me as well, because they sell the land, they're not buying your mobile home, they're not buying your trailer. They expect you to move it somewhere else. Where else are you going to go? You have to be able to then find another mobile home park or trailer park that you can move to that has an opening in your price range and within the miles that you're willing to travel. Because how often do you see numerous mobile home parks or trailer parks in a community? You don't. They're generally few and far between. So if the land is sold out literally from underneath you, from underneath your home, you're kind of up a creek without a paddle, and that is a horrible place to be in. Now, keep in mind also, receiving an eviction notice can be stressful and challenging experience. Now, if you do receive an eviction notice, like if you're in a mobile home park and you're on rented land and you receive an eviction notice, these are things you need to know. But this goes for everybody who is in the potential way, no, that's not right. Potential possibility, this all sounds stupid. I don't know how to phrase this. Who could possibly be evicted. There we go. Ensure, check the validity. That is number one. Check the validity. I'm so surprised I said that correctly the first time. The validity of the eviction, okay? Ensure the eviction notice complies with state and local laws. It should include specific information such as the reason for eviction, the amount of time you have to respond, and other legally required details. Because keep in mind, if they think that you don't know what's right or what's wrong, then they feel like they can get over on you. Make sure you do your due diligence to make sure that whatever papers you are given are legal, are legally binding, are something that they can stand on. Because you may be able to turn around and go, you can't do this based off this law, based off whatever else. So always be your own advocate for making sure that whatever's happening around you isn't screwing you over, all right? Know your rights, all right? Familiar size. Okay, Michelle. Familiarize yourself with your tenant rights, which can vary by state and locality. These can include the right to adequate notice, the right to dispute the eviction, and protections against retaliatory eviction. So think about it this way. They send you a letter that says, hey, you're being evicted, you have 30 days to get out. Okay, that's cool. But does your local or state government have a law that says you get 60 days? Because if that's the case, their 30 days can kiss your ass because you have 60 days. State and local law will always outweigh whatever some developer or lease owner or whatever puts in their little piece of paper. So make sure you're always paying attention to what it says and doing your own homework and checking their wants against the facts of what they can ask for, right? Now, communicate with your landlord. Contact your landlord to discuss the eviction notice. If the eviction is due to unpaid rent, you might be able to negotiate a payment plan. If it's due to a lease violation, see if there's a way to resolve the issue. Never take the first, like in any kind of negotiation, never take the first number offered. Always negotiate, right? You have to be able to try to advocate for yourself. If they say, well, just like with credit cards, they're like, hey, you're 3 months past due on your credit card payment. We're gonna, cut it off so you can't use it. We're gonna send you to collections. We're gonna do whatever else. You go, hey, listen, how about this? Can I pay this much each month and then you turn it back on? Can we set up a payment plan? Can we do whatever else? Most time people are willing to work with you because they want their money. They want their money. They would rather get their money than not. And if setting up a payment plan gets them their money, a lot of times they're willing to do it, but you won't know unless you ask. Now, obviously, seek legal advice. Consult with a tenant lawyer or a legal aid organization. They can help you understand your rights and options and may assist in negotiating with your landlord or representing you in court, which sounds great if you have the money to do so, which I know a lot of people in mobile homes and trailer parks are going to say, I don't have the means to do this. If I did, I would have paid the rent or I would have done this or whatever else. Legal aid organizations, a lot of times there are pro bono people who can help you or at least answer your questions. Also, the internet does have a lot of free information on it. Of course, you have to pick and choose which one is right or wrong because some people are just full of shit and will tell you anything. But you have to, know what you're looking for, which is sometimes hard to do. But there's always a way to get somebody to help you for free with just, answering some questions. Now, beyond that, like going into court or something, that's obviously, generally speaking, going to cost money, but not always. You always just have to, again, advocate for yourself, do your own legwork and figure out what you can do. Now, respond to the notice, okay? Follow the instructions on the notice for how to respond. This might involve paying overdue rent, correcting a lease violation, or preparing for a court appearance. Ignoring the notice isn't going to do anything but hurt you. Just like if you get the phone call from your creditor, it says, hey, you're over limit. Ignoring them does not help the issue go away. It just gives you those red marks under your name, like on the report card. They put the X. Doesn't play well with others. Talks too much. Not plays well with others. Fine. Talks too much. Always me. I got in trouble so much in school for running my mouth because I always had questions and wanted to know more and wanted to correct teachers when I thought they were wrong, which I'm still the exact same person. But weirdly, now I run my mouth for a living, which is really fun for me. Anyway, not the point. But respond to the notice. Always make sure they know that you received it because then they can take some other weird legal action against you if you don't respond. So make sure you guys are responding. Now, prepare for court. If the eviction notice leads to a court hearing, gather all relevant documents, lease agreement, payment records, communication with your landlord. Always do everything leave a paper trail. If you're having a conversation with your landlord or something, record it while you're talking. Let them know, hey, I'm recording this. If you have a question, you email it. You get those responses. And if you're going to email it, you make sure you turn on read receipts so you can see that they saw your email. And that way they can't say, oh, I never saw it, so I couldn't answer you. It'll tell you when they saw it, the exact time and day they saw it. Cover your own ass. Theirs is not of importance to you. Your ass is the only one that matters in situations like this. Now, let's see, consider mediation. Some jurisdictions offer mediation services for landlord-tenant disputes. Mediation can be a less adversarial way to resolve the issue and reach a mutually agreeable solution. Basically, bring in a third party who can, help you work through things without the emotion. It sounds great, doesn't always work, but it's worth a try for sure. Please hold, I need water. It's always worth a try. It's never a bad idea to try everything possible before it goes to the point of court, right? But, You have to plan for the worst case. While working to resolve the issue, also prepare for the possibility that you might need to move. Start looking for alternative housing and consider how you will manage the logistics of a potential move. Moving is not easy. Moving is not cheap. Moving is not, labor less intensive. It's a lot of work to move from a point A to a point B. It doesn't matter the distance or anything like that. It's still a lot of work. So make sure you're paying attention to the things that you need to do, logistically can do, what it'll cost you, how far you have to go, the physical aspects of it, not just the monetary aspects. Make sure you have thought all these things through, right? Now, obviously, you got to stay informed. Keep up to date with any correspondence from your landlord or the court. Missing a deadline or court date can lead to an automatic ruling against you. Make sure you have everything. Set 85 bajillion reminders if you need it. Put sticky notes everywhere. Put them on your dog, put them on your husband, your wife, your kid, the refrigerator, the car door, every window in your house, whatever. But make sure you have times and dates of where you need to be, like, set in stone, and do not miss anything. Now, also document everything. Like I said, record it if it's talking, and paper trails will always save you, right? Keep detailed records of all communications with your landlord, any repairs or actions you take to comply with the lease, and any payments made. Also, this is not to do with this, but kind of, sort of, homeowners, whatever. Anytime you need something done around your place that is part of a contract where somebody else is supposed to take care of it, always email it out first. That way you have that, again, that paper trail that says, hey, this is the day this happened. This is when I asked you to fix it. That way, if it progresses and gets worse, you have physical proof that it was brought to their attention ahead of time, so that you're not charged extra. Heaven forbid you're renting or something and you say, hey, listen, there's an issue with the AC, there's a leak or something, I need you to take care of it. And they do nothing. And the next thing you know, there's some weird random flood and problems in the house. And they go, well, it's your fault. No, the hell it's not. I sent you this email on this day. I told you about it. I have the red receipt where you looked at it and decided that crickets was the best response. Again, cover your own ass. That's what matters every single time. Receiving an eviction notice is serious, but by understanding your rights, seeking appropriate advice, and taking proactive steps, you can navigate the situation more effectively. And that's what matters in the long run. Navigating the situation more effectively. Trying to stamp down the emotion, and if y'all ever been here on SquirrelTribe before, I'm an emotional person, so that's very, very hard for me. But trying to stamp down the emotion, like take it down a notch, and go with, a clear head into all of these things, vital. Absolutely vital. Emotions will not win you a court case in theory, but they could easily lose you one. So you have to be very careful with how you progress with things. When you're emailing people, don't tell them they're idiots, morons. Keep out certain words in your emails and in your day-to-day talking with certain people. But make sure that you are paying attention to what is going on with wherever you live. Look and see if, there's issues with other tenants in your area, or if the company isn't keeping up with what they say they're supposed to keep up with, because you have your own rights as a tenant in any mobile home or trailer park, just as with anywhere else. So make sure you're paying attention to everything. So I love you all immensely. Thank you for letting me have this conversation with you, because I know it's an important one, and I don't know how often people have these conversations, and they need to be had, because you just never know who needs to hear it, right? So that's that. Hope y'all have a fabulous rest of your day. See you next time. Bye-bye.